back to the Haney Biz Project with host Mark Haney.
All right. Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Sun System Technology. I'm Mark Haney, and today I am joined by Carol Garcia, banking executive and Roseville's former mayor and city councilwoman. How you doing, Carol?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, you bet. I appreciate you coming on. And, I want to ask you, I guess the question would be, who is Carol Garcia today? And who was Carol Garcia when you found out that you had breast cancer?
Well, I think I've come a long way since I was diagnosed at the young age of 39 when I was first diagnosed. It was devastating. It's something that you don't expect to hear, that you have breast cancer, those words. Yeah. And how do you react? How do you live life from that point, not knowing if you're going to live or die?
Well, let's put us back in that time. So you are a highly accomplished business person here in the South Placer area. What was life like then? You have a family and you have the successful career. What were you doing? Describe the background when you found out.
So at that time, I'm married, had a great husband. I have two daughters at that time one was in 8th grade and one was a senior in high school.
Wow.
And I worried for them at that time, thinking, am I carrying that gene? Are they going to also contract this disease? And so I was very worried for them. One thing I did, though, is they were alongside, my husband and our two daughters were alongside for all the treatments and everything that I did, because I wanted them to know when I went through my surgeries, I ended up having a bilateral mastectomy, even though it was in one breast. My husband said, Carol, cancer does not give you a second chance, so we should really take off both. I thought that was very insensitive, but the more I thought about it, I thought, he may be right.
I guess it's okay to laugh about it a little bit now, right?
But I have to say, when they pulled off those bandages after I had that bilateral mastectomy, I had my daughters sitting there with me. I wanted them to see what I was going through, because I thought someday they may have to go through the same thing.
Well, when you first found out, what happened? Did your doctor tell you about this? Did you have early signs that indicated something was different?
I found the lump myself. I was really good about doing my monthly breast cancer checks on my own. And so I would encourage all women to continue to do that. So I found it myself. I went into the doctor. They confirmed it. They did a needle biopsy. They confirmed that it was cancer and went in to do a lumpectomy, which is normal for that. And they couldn't get clear cancer tissue under the lump. So they went back in again, couldn't get it. So they suggested to have the breasts removed. And then, of course, my husband said, we'll take off the other one too.
Yeah. So this happens. You go through. Tell us a little bit about the treatment and how it was just coping at that stage.
I went through the reconstruction at the same time they took the breasts out. I had the reconstruction process started where they put the saline or silicone bags in. You can choose either one. I chose the saline, but you have those bags put in, expander bags, and they build those up over a period of time, and then they slip in the regular saline implants, and through that, I did not have to have chemo. I was lucky it was not in my lymph nodes, but a few oncologists said, out of precaution, you should probably have chemo, but I chose not to. And I felt my body had been through enough, and at a certain point, I think you really need to listen to your body. And that's what I ended up doing and chose not to do the chemo. But I went through a lot of surgeries with the removal of the breasts, obviously, and then the reconstruction part of it required some surgeries as well.
Well, it must have been like I'm just envisioning some kind of like gut-wrenching punch in the stomach when you find out. What was the low point? Because you're together now. I mean, was there like a rock bottom point?
There is a rock bottom point. And I think that rock bottom point is when you find out you have it, and then you don't know what your future is going to hold. You don't know if you're going to live to see your grandkids and to hold those babies. You don't know. And it's the unknown for me that was probably the scariest. But once you find out you're going to be okay, it's not going to come back, hopefully, fingers crossed. They're always coming up with new ways of detecting breast cancer. So I'm encouraged every year as I continue to be checked by Dr. Christy Babolas, who has saved me so many times, and you'll hear from later. But I feel so blessed that every 6 months I get that check and she tells me I'm going to be fine.
So you had the surgery. When did you feel like, you know what? I think everything's going to be okay.
I think I felt that way probably maybe 5 years. It took a good
Wow.
5 years
It
before
took a
you
long
hit that
time.
mark. I continue to go to the doctor, but it's that 5-year mark when you are told by your doctor, I think everything's going to be okay. I'm going to continue to see you, but I think you're going to be fine. Continue to listen to your body, exercise, eat right, do everything the doctors say, because that's so important for your health.
You have such a close-knit family. I mean, my mother was good friends with your mother. You're well known in this area as being just, I mean, when I think of Carol Garcia, I always think class, right? I have never known you that well, but I know of you through a lot of good friends and through my wife, Stacy. But I'm wondering, somebody who's got it all together like you do, you can't always have it all. You've got that public face that is always so beautiful, but who stood by you in your low moments and just what did that support system look like?
My support system was wonderful. As I explained, I had my husband, my daughters, I had my sisters, my immediate family. My mother was alive at the time and so supportive. I had my coworkers. I was going to be the chamber president at that time for the Roseville Chamber. The entire chamber business community rallied around me. I had so much love and support during that period of time. I couldn't have asked for any more. Was I scared? Yes, every single day.
So now you're recovered, and we're going to talk about awareness a little bit later in the show. But today you're back to I call it banging, right? When we're at our very best, at our very best opportunity, you're back to banking. You're back to being a leader in South Placer. How did the experience, this extremely difficult experience, I guess, prepare you or maybe even strengthen you to continue to get back in the game and start winning again?
I think because I was so busy at the time I was diagnosed, I didn't have time for cancer. I had to keep moving. And it was after I was done with my surgeries that I decided I wanted to do something about this disease. I thought it was terrible that women should have to go through what I had just been through, and worse, if they would have to go through chemo and all the other treatments. So that's when I decided it was important that we start a fund to raise money for breast cancer research.
Wow.
And that's when we started in 2005, the Placer Breast Cancer Foundation, with the intent to raise $1.5 million
Wow.
for breast cancer research. Through UC Davis Comprehensive Cancer Center. We endowed a breast cancer chair, and we reached that goal in 2014.
Wow.
We
So
handed
you
that
used
money.
your leadership and your business background to actually take on an entrepreneurial effort to start this endowment. But then you reached that number, and it's become more than that, hasn't it?
It has. We continue to give money for research. We put on education sessions in the high schools. We received money to do that, a grant to go into our local Roseville Joint Union High School district. And the kids are so intrigued with the breast cancer. They have family, they have friends, they have, parents and grandmothers who have experienced breast cancer. And they put on fundraisers for our group through basketball and all their sports activities.
Yeah.
So
doesn't
we're very
it feel
fortunate.
doesn't it feel like to you, probably you were, you have had breast cancer, and so it feels like everybody, everybody you meet. It's like breast cancer maybe become more common in your mind. But even for me, some of my good friends, my good buddy Eric Borbeck, his wife Lisa battled breast cancer, and his mother ends up with breast cancer. It's like half the family had cancer, and it's like once you become close with somebody who has cancer, you realize how common it is.
It is.
So
Somebody is touched in one way or another. They know somebody that has breast cancer. And that's evident from the Hot Pink Fun Run that we just put on a couple weeks ago, where you had a huge team.
Yes,
out
the
there.
Haney Biz
The
team was
Haney
out
Biz.
there supporting the
Yes.
fun run.
And that's a great event because you see the families, and you see the survivors, you see women who are going through treatment. We do a survivors outreach that day where we honor each survivor. We have
Wow.
them come up before the race, say how long they had been a survivor. We have a little gift for each one of them. And it's just a great family event, and we've been doing that for 10 years.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's one of my favorite events that we put on every year.
Well, we're going to hear more about that coming up a little bit later in the show, talking about the awareness aspect of things. But before we get to that, we're actually going to bring on somebody who knows a lot about this disease because she helps her patients to battle breast cancer every day. Coming up after the break, she's a real life hero from Sutter's Roseville oncologist. Dr. Christy Babolas will join us. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Audi Rockland. This is the Haney Biz Project.